That's what I'm talking about. Come on, sucker. Let's get it on.
See, no one has balls. No one has the balls to say the real deal.
Black Word Today.
Just y'all is the one and only. Get up.
You are poor.
Hello, everybody.
Black Word Today.
We looking good? All right, people. How y'all doing? Welcome to Black Word Today. I'm your host, Tim Black. We had some technical issues with our internet connection that we have resolved, so it threw everything back. But I had to come back and do this show because we have something to talk about. What's up, people? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Periscope, Facebook, YouTube in the house. Team Black. We've got a issue. Comedians Wanda Sykes and Monique ask questions about pay. They're wondering why they aren't getting paid equal to their male and white counterparts. But first, let's go to the government shutdown, ladies and gentlemen. We got to do that because, gosh, it affects so many people. So many people have been affected by the government shutdown, and it appears that the government shutdown is over or will be over. Okay? So Congress votes to end the government shutdown, sending a bill to Trump's desk. And the House on Monday evening approved a bill to reopen the government, sending the package to President Trump's desk to end the three-day government shutdown as Senate Democrats backed off their opposition. The bill passed with a vote of 266 to 150, following the votes early in the day in the Senate. The temporary spending bill would keep the government open until February 8th, and the president is expected to sign the bill later on today. Democrats agreed to reopen the government after Republicans assured them the Senate would soon consider legislation that would protect illegal immigrants brought to the United States as children, or as referred to as DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It was a stark contrast from the Senate Democrats' position just a few days ago. In a few hours, the government will reopen, says Senate Minority Leader Senator Chuck Schumer. New York Democrats said on the Senate floor on Monday. The Senate then voted 81-18 to break a Democratic filibuster on the stalled government spending bill. Several hours later, the Senate approved the bill. I am pleased that Democrats in Congress have come to their senses and are now willing to fund our great military, border patrol, first responders, and insurance for vulnerable children, Trump said in a written statement. Boy, I tell you, that Trump is something else, man. Oh, man, he's something else. During Monday's press briefing, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said the administration expects the bill to make it to the president's desk late Monday and the government to open at full capacity on Tuesday morning. Sanders pushed back against the notion from Democrats that Trump wasn't doing enough behind the scenes during the shutdown. She said Trump was busy working the phones with lawmakers and cabinet officials. But of course, what else would she say? President Trump was putting pressure and standing firm on exactly what he was willing to do and what he wasn't, Sanders said, and it's clearly worked. The funding and reopening of the government would allow U.S. military personnel to be paid. Because, see, they were furloughed, but they were still working, but they weren't being paid. And end the furlough of nearly 1 million federal workers and resume all federal services and operations. Congressional lawmakers made it clear Monday that they still faced challenges like how to fund hurricane disaster relief and craft a comprehensive immigration reform bill on which both parties could agree. We all have a lot more work to do, said Senator John Ernst of Republican from Iowa. After days and weeks of blaming and finger-pointing, a bipartisan group of senators met Sunday and brokered the deal in which rank-and-file members would provide 60 votes in exchange for Senate leaders' promise to immediately proceed to immigration reform. All right. Let me get some water while I get ready to cut through this nonsense. Regardless of what you feel about the agreement or about what the Democratic Party did here, let's make one thing perfectly clear. If you got an issue that you want championed, you might not want the Democrats to be the ones championing it for you. I want all you black folks to take a good look at this. The only bargaining chip the Democratic Party had was withholding this bill. That's it. They don't control the House. They don't control the Senate. But they could have held up funding the government to get what they needed for their constituents. 700,000 members of the DREAM who benefit from the DREAM Act are on the chopping block. Now, I'm not saying it won't get done, but what I'm saying is the only leverage that the Democratic Party had was to refuse to give the Republicans what they want until they got what they wanted. This became less an issue about ethics, less an issue about the people that they say they were trying to protect, and more an issue about their own situations. See what I'm saying? The tide started to turn, and the American people started to blame the Democrats for the shutdown. Now, that takes a lot when you consider, and I'm telling you this in case you don't know, that there are many in liberal media that are anti-Trump. Anti-Trump. Understand? So even though the Democrats had the benefit of MSNBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, all of them reporting it basically the same way, that the GOP, they have no heart. They won't take care of these young people who are DACA, who have been here through no fault of their own their entire lives, or the majority of their lives since they were children. They were brought here. Their parents brought them here. Meanwhile, they've been contributing. 95% of them have been working. And they painted the Republicans as the boogeyman. But it didn't matter, because in the public viewpoint, it was the Democratic Party that made DACA, that wanted to put DACA into this bill. My thing is this. If you need somebody to fight for you, and I mean fight, go to the mat, not be worried about or overly concerned with how the public views it. If you have principle on your side, then the Democratic Party should stick with it. I'm not saying I totally agree with it. I haven't read the bill. I don't know everything that's in the act. But it's Congress' job to know that stuff. It's not my job. I don't have a copy of it. My point is the principle. You know what I'm saying? There are principles to this thing.
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions.
Come on, guys. If you say, I'm standing for these people, and we will not waver on this, and then you waver, well, what the hell was the shutdown about anyway? I mean, if you say, we're going to draw a line in the sand, and we ain't crossing this line in the sand, and then you cross the line in the sand after what? 2 days? I know people have to eat. I know people have to work. Now, it's not like the Democrats didn't get anything out the deal. They did get the CHIPS program refunded for another 6 years. This is great. Now, CHIPS, Children's Healthcare Insurance Program, okay? Children's Health Insurance Program. That's it, all right? It feeds a lot of children. And there are these centers, these medical centers, local medical centers that will also be funded. So there are a couple wins, but it's not the win they were looking for. Come on, how are you not going to provide health care for kids? That would hurt. That's really not a bargaining chip that they had, because I don't think the Republicans ever planned not to continue to fund CHIPS. They let it lapse just because they knew this was coming. See, the Republican Party is beating the Democratic Party at politics. Trump wasn't worried about looking bad. Trump was worried about winning. And he felt like he's already solidified with his base. He can go to the mat. You can call him all the names you want. In fact, if you've been called, see, here's the thing. If you've been calling Trump a bunch of names for a year, then what do you got to lose then? His reputation? Come on, guys, you got to hear me on this. What's he got to lose? If you called him a bigot, if you called him a racist, if you called him a jackass, if you called him all these names, and you've been doing that all this time, what are you going to call him now? More of a bigot? It's different levels of bigotry, I guess you could go with. My point, I have made several points, but my last point on this is that the Dreamers were supposed to be an issue that the Democrats took all away. Now they have no guarantees of anything. Hell, because Mitch McConnell said that we're gonna look at this, in February. We'll look at it and we'll give an honest look at, DACA. Oh yeah, sure. We're supposed to take his word for it. You should take the word of Paul Ryan. I mean, hey, if the word meant anything, you never would have had a shutdown to begin with, right? There was no sweetener added to the deal. They simply caved. And all I'm saying is, when we talk about issues affecting the black community, and all you got loaded in your gun is a Democratic Party bullet, how could you expect more? And I want you to look at it and recognize that what they're doing to DACA, they do to us. Yeah, we'll push it a little bit, but at the end of the day, there will be no legislation produced for anything black-related the same way. As soon as the heat gets turned up, Democrats jump out the room. And that's not every single Democrat, but I'm saying it's the party. And look, and I know I'm right because all of the Democrats who are thinking about running in 2020, they did not vote for this. Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Kirsten Gillibrand, they all voted nay because they will not be able to win an election, they feel, or be able to run in 2020 with this hanging over their head that they did not stand strong. And they need the Latino vote. All right, guys. I tell you. See, no one has balls. No one has the balls to say the real deal. I just said the real deal. All right. See what I'm saying? Yeah, we put that in there. Give it a Schumer. Monique and Wanda Sykes. You know these two ladies, very talented comedians. Been doing it, been getting it done. One's an Oscar winner. One, I think Wanda's got an award for something. Wanda's been at the game for so long. Where's that movement at again? Check this out. Now, this article is from Quartzy, KZ, but it's been talked about on several news outlets. Black women comics are calling for a boycott of Netflix. Why? Because they say they're not getting paid what they're worth. These days, asking people to boycott Netflix is like asking them to boycott the grocery store. But that's exactly what the Academy Award-winning actress and comedian Monique wants you to do. After she says the streaming giant offered her an insulting low rate for a stand-up special. I'm asking that you stand with me and boycott Netflix for gender bias and color bias, she announced in an Instagram video last week. I was offered $500,000 last week to do a comedy special. However, Amy Schumer was offered $11 million. Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, $20 million. Monique already has a stand-up special called I Could Have Been Your Smellmate on Netflix, though it is not a Netflix original like Schumer's, Rock's, or Chappelle's. Yesterday, the Emmy Award-winning actress and comedian Wanda Sykes, I knew Wanda won something. She'd been at the game too long. Tweeted in solidarity with Monique. Thank you for speaking out, Monique. At Netflix offered me less than half of your $500,000. I was offended but found another home. #epics. Sykes apparently ended up at another network, Epix, for her 2016 stand-up special. While some have expressed support on Monique's Instagram, no other performers, and notably, no one affiliated with the Time's Up initiative, have offered to join her boycott.
Look, man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
We talk a lot about the pay gap between men and women in Hollywood. Most recently, it was revealed that the actress Michelle Williams was paid $1,000 for reshoots for all of the money in the world, while co-star Mark Wahlberg received $1.5 million for the reshoots. Williams was never told about Wahlberg's compensation during their own negotiations. We talk far less or not at all about the pay gap between black women and white women in Hollywood. As noted by Refinery 29, the 2016 Forbes list of the world's highest paid actresses did not include any black women. Well, not my fault. Across industries, white women make 80 cents for every dollar a white man makes, while black women make even less, 64 cents. The reactions to Monique's call for boycott were mixed. Some have called her ungrateful, and some have held Sykes up as an example of a professional who moved on without burning bridges. Others have praised Monique for her bravery in standing up to one of Hollywood's rising power players and bemoaned the fact that others haven't joined the cause. We got a lot of tweets here. Now, then they go into a commentary. I'll read just a portion of it before I give you my commentary. Part of the issue is Monique's argument that her stature, achievements, and years of acting and doing comedy are being ignored, which is sadly unsurprising in an industry notorious for its ageism, especially for women. Monique has been actively working in the industry since '99, 4 years before Schumer graduated from college, starting with her role as Nikki Parker on UPN's The Parkers. Okay. Then it goes on to say that Netflix compensation is not based on seniority. When Monique asked Netflix to explain the compensation difference, she was told, well, we believe that's what Monique will bring. According to her Instagram video, we don't go off of resumes, Netflix reportedly added, noting that Schumer's recent box office successes explain why she received $11 million for a comedy special, which she negotiated up to $13 million. Schumer herself struggled to get her due. Even with her multi-million-dollar contract with Netflix, she reportedly negotiated her fee for the comedy special up after finding out that Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle were paid $20 million. Still, she said in a statement that drew some criticism, she understood why her pay was less than those older male comics. Thanks for chiming in on what you think I deserve to be paid, she wrote on Instagram in 2017. I believe women deserve equal pay. I don't believe I deserve equal pay to Chris and Dave. Monique, it seems, was not able to negotiate a similar increase. The exact calculus of who is paid what by Netflix is opaque, but it's worth noting that the streaming company has sometimes been more focused on audience than quality. Adam Sandler signed 2 four-film deals. Yes, that's right. 8 films. 2 4-film deals. Wow. With Netflix, despite his recent films being widely panned by critics. Still, those movies seem to have paid off handsomely with audiences. All right. So let's have that conversation, folks, because it's, Monique has been talking about inadequacies, the unfair treatment that she's received in Hollywood since winning an Oscar, and how she was treated by various groups of various people in power. And it's something that's been widely reported on. See, here's my issue with this. Though I see Netflix's point, that you got to put butts in the seats. But do they believe that that Monique will not put butts in the seats? That people will not stream this show? That it will not be watched on their platform? Is that what they're trying to say? I mean, we all know that Monique is incredibly talented. She always has been. So what really is the issue? Is it the level of popularity? Is that the problem? Has her popularity waned? See, these are the criticisms people have been giving out. I've been reading comments. People saying, well, you know, Monique, she's always complaining about something. Well, you know what? Michelle Williams complained. Yeah, Michelle Williams complained about those reshoots on that movie with Marky Mark, and she got her money. She got her money, and she was already paid. She did not have her contract asking for reshoot pay. And after she found out, hey, I'm not getting paid for reshoots, and her contract's already done and signed, and it's in the desk, it's over. She went back, she made such a stink, and people made such a stink on her behalf that she got her money. I don't know why people think it's wrong for Monique to do the same thing. Why shouldn't Monique fight for hers? Look, I said openly on this show that I don't think that Michelle Williams should have got more money just because she didn't read her contract correctly. It's nice they did it, and I don't hate on her for getting her money. But why are black folks up here acting like Monique shouldn't be able to do the same thing that Michelle Williams did? And why are other people coming out supporting Monique? Why is Wanda Sykes the only person saying, hey, I know how Netflix does us? See, man, to me, it's a double standard. It's a double standard when you say Monique can't go get hers. Look, funny is, what's the word for it? Funny is up to the individual. What you think is funny, I might not think is funny. It's all relative. That's the word I'm looking for. It's all relative. But what's not relative is do you have a fan base? Monique has a fan base just like Tyler Perry, just like Cat Williams, just like Corey Holcomb, just like Mike Epps. And those people will come out and those people will stream the hell out of that show. I think the issue with Monique is that she don't have much of a crossover audience. And the people that are in her audience, some of them got a little bit too much, what's the word for it? Inferiority complex. I'll say it, inferiority complex. You have to fight for yours in Hollywood. And you got to fight for yours on the internet. You got to fight for yours in all walks of life. And if you don't fight for yours, you won't get it. Because people don't give you money because you a nice person. They give you money because you demand it. The biggest raise you get will be the raise you get going in the door. I think Monique's doing the right thing. I find it disappointing that others think not. They think she should just be shut up and take what she worth. Well, if that's the attitude you want to have, then you'll never have nothing. Because that ain't how the game is played. Another thing about this, what's the name of that movement they all been talking about? Not the Me Too movement. What's the other word for it? The whatever, I don't know. The What About Us movement, the Pay Us, Equal Pay movement, the movement that all of the white feminist women are talking about and causing a big stir. And they should talk about it. They should, because if they don't fight for it, see, here's my thing. I don't begrudge anyone else from getting theirs. I just say, let us get ours too. And don't ask me to join your movements if you won't join mine. See, that's why I say I support DACA, but hey, I want you to support our movements too. I feel the same way about this. I support the Me Too movement as long as you don't go crazy with the pitchforks on somebody who may have touched somebody's butt one time, comparing that to somebody who flat out raped women. They ain't the same thing. All right? But I support the Me Too movement as long as it's done rationally and people get a fair hearing. But I definitely support people getting equal pay for what they're worth. And I support people fighting for it. My thing is, why are we not backing Monique in her quest to get hers? Just because you broke and you'll take anything, I understand. Look, $500,000 look good as hell to me. I take it so quick, I break a finger trying to grab that check. But that's because of what my station in life is. You see this monitor? That's a webcam, sir. Ladies, people, Wolfpack. I can't even travel to Salt Lake City. I can't even afford to rent a hotel. So, of course, I take the $500,000, but Monique has put in 20 years on the grind. She shouldn't have to ask like this. But sometimes you do have to. Sometimes you have to demand. So stop looking at life through your lens. Of course I take it. Of course you take it. Monique should fight for more. Like I said, the biggest raise you get is the one you demand going in the door. All right, so I want to see some more folks coming out in support of Monique. Same thing happened back in the day with that Oscar So White stuff with Jada Pinkett and Will Smith and all those others who had a lot to say, but when it came down to it, everybody quiet and showed up at the next Oscars because it was just talk. That's what happens when you don't control anything, and I want everybody to notice that. Don't control anything. Don't have the leverage. Monique, go get your money. Go get it. And stop telling Monique to start a YouTube channel and do for self. You don't know how this thing works? Listen. I had to start a YouTube channel. I was on one episode of Dr. Phil. That does not make a career. Monique been on, she'd had a sitcom. She was a star of a sitcom. Come on, man. Don't tell her to go do that. That's the last resort. Trust me. It's the last resort. Starting a YouTube channel is something you do when you haven't had the exposure, or it's something you do as an add-on. Stop telling her to walk away from $500,000 and don't fight for $2 million or $3 million or $5 million or whatever. That don't make sense. Let me know what you think about this story, what you think about Monique's fight for the cash. Does my argument make any sense? Do you see where I'm coming from at all? We have to stand up and demand what we want. We have built-in audiences. If you've spent the time, the years, building an audience. I've spent 5 years building an audience. I didn't wake up with 100,000 subscribers. I spent 5 years of my life building an audience online. I understand where Monique is coming from. I got a lot further to go. I have to keep building. But when you do that, it's worth something. It's worth something. And plus, there's a lot of corny mofos on the damn Netflix. How many times you cut on the Netflix stand-up and went, uh-oh. They had a market out there. That's why they're on there, because they have a following. So does Monique. That's it. I ain't gonna beat it a dead horse no further. Monique has a built-in audience. Support her demand of money, because she should demand her money, because they ain't gonna just give it to you. Amy Schumer had to fight to get hers. Nobody told her to shut up. Well, they did tell her to shut up. She tuned them out and went and got her money. Don't shame Monique for trying to get hers. You didn't shame Schumer. You didn't shame Michelle Williams. You damn sure. I don't know. I can't even name you. I don't know. Who else haven't you shamed? I don't know. You get my point, right? All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Email me at tim@timberlaketv.com. And until we talk again, remember.
Maybe I ought to eat your cornbread.
Nobody take no cornbread from me.
They'll eat your cornbread if you let them. It's up to your job not to let them. Peace. Get your money. And Wanda, you did the right thing too. Proud of you, sis. Wanda from my neck of the woods. D.C., baby. Or is it VA? She's right next door. I think it's VA. I think she's a VA person. Go.
Check this out, son. Hold up.
Why can't we pick our own colors?
No way, no way. Tried it once, it doesn't work. You get 4 guys all fighting over who's going to be Mr. Black.
I got your stuff off the realness.
Black Word Today.
Just y'all is the